Okay, so just trying to get the stream right. This is hold on. So yeah, it's working on my screen, and ooh, I gotta charge my phone. Ooh, computer shook, shook it did. Okay. All right, let me do some quick messaging to Twitter real quick. Uh, well, you know what? It is live. Okay. So it's now 4 o'clock. If you can hear me, let me know. The one viewer that's in here. Uh, um, but I think it should be good. I think the sound's good. Um, I think everything's going okay. I'm trying to just check and see. I usually do it a little bit different. Hold on. Let me check. Let me do this real quick. Okay, we're back. Just wanted to move my just move myself a little bit so it wouldn't be have too much in the background except for the longboard and the box. But um, yeah, so um, just wanted to say hello. My name is Indigo Let. This is Strive Sundays. So we are just doing these to keep people up to date about what's happening, about what's going on in the local community or state and national um, issues, just to kind of like a refresher of what's been happening recently, um, and uh, and just to try to keep people up to date about what's going on. I know there's a lot happening right now. It seems like every day something's happening, and it's just kind of good to get like a refresher or like just a little info about what's going on here and there. uh, so once again, my name is Indigo Lett. I'm part of Strive, which is a Socialist Trans Initiative. We are a organization in the Gulf Coast of Pensacola, Florida, of the U.S. And what we do is we're a transgender activist organization, and what we try to provide is assistance and help to the local and Gulf Coast transgender community. Uh, so we are not a 510c3. So what we do take is just donations from the people, and those donations go to HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. Um, Anytime a trans person needs, you know, I was about to say teleportation. They gonna need that teleportation. No, anytime a trans person needs transportation anywhere, or if they in need of any, let's say, let's say they need medicines that aren't HRT, and they just need like an aspirin or something, anything like that, or they need to be transported to their job. Um, or wherever they need to go. We try to help supply them with money. Let's say they need like an Uber or Lyft somewhere, we can try to help with that. Um, Anything with, trying to think what else, anything with, their lives in general. We try to help them out as best way we can. We do also have a housing program. We're still going with that, which is basically anytime there's a homeless trans or queer person, what we try to do is we try to put them with someone that can house them for a little bit. Um, we're not the Tulip House yet, which is the Tulip House is in New Orleans or New Orleans, and they're actually like building little small houses. I don't know if this was the sign for that, but they're building little houses for um, like tiny homes and things like that for queer and trans people in the area of New Orleans. So they're doing it big there. They're amazing. If you want to follow them on Instagram at the Tulip House, or just put in Tulip House in the search bar. They're um, they're amazing. So, um, but what we do try to do is we try to either get you in a hotel room or try to get you in somebody who can house you for um, as long as they can, or as long as you're willing and able to stay over there, and then hope you get to that next place that you need to go. So, oh, sorry, there was something on my phone that just notified me of something. So yeah, that's what we do at Strive. Um, there's some other events that are going to happen. I'm probably going to mention those a little later, but for right now, we are. We're just trying to do our best and just provide the local trans community with what they need as much as we can. We do get some messages as well. If you do come in this chat and you haven't gotten your message uh, addressed, we try our best to get to the messages as much as we can, as quick as we can. It's only three of us, so and we're all working, so it's a bit difficult for us to get to the messages all the time, but we do our best with that. Trying to think what else. What else? It's something else. But I'm trying to think what else that we provide that can assist. So what we also have is weekly meetings. So any meetings that we have are usually on Wednesdays from 6 to 7, 6 to 8 ish. We used to do them at the End of the Line Cafe, but they're right now going through an issue with their business, and so we don't know how many times we're going to have to be able to have meetings there. And so recently we've been having meetings at the downtown Whataburger. Forget what street that's on, but we'll let you know when that comes up. So if you want everyone to come to a meeting, we have meetings from every Wednesday from 6 to 7, and it's usually at the end of the line, but we've been having them recently at the downtown Pensacola Whataburger. So meet us there if you want to talk with us, or if you have anything else planned, if you want to make plans for something else, that'd be great. And then also for this broadcast, it will be, once this broadcast is finished, we're going to save it, and then that's going to be sent to YouTube. There's uh, Twitch has they have a little, what you call it? Twitch has like a studio. So they have their own little studio that you can download, and you can take your recently done live stream and put it uh, onto YouTube or other platforms. And so if you miss this, I'll be sending this to YouTube a little later tonight. And then as well, for the people on YouTube, if you like, please subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this live stream, please subscribe to our channel. If you're just on Twitch, um, we're trying to build our YouTube up a little bit. I might switch these over to YouTube, these live streams, just so we can get more. But there is a multi-stream platforms, but they cost money, and so they cost like monthly money. Um, and so once I save up enough money or get up enough money, I'm going to try to multi-platforms these live streams so that we can, um, we can do that. So hold on, it's weird. Hold on. Okay, I can see me. I was just worried about the live stream. I was like, I couldn't see it on my phone. So anyway, so we have one article today, or really two articles. One's going to be on kind of what's been going on bill wise for anti-trans bills that have been going on in the country recently. Um, and we're going to go over some of those, especially the Florida ones. Probably start with those first, and then we'll probably just jump around to the other states. And then there is a story out of Mexico, um, trying to get branch out a little outside of America. Um, that's a fairly good story. So um, if you would like, once again, just I'm trying to look at the article. There it is. Okay. So yeah. So we are uh, got two stories today, and then I'm going to go over some Strive news, and then that's going to be it. So let's get started with the first article. Got is that it? Yeah, screen share. Da-da-da. All right, let's say we got like three people on. That's kind of cool. Okay. So if y'all could see that, I'm gonna let me expand this a little larger. Damn, 150. Anyway, so so a really good website to go to, by the way, is them. So it's them magazine. So them.us. They really are good in their comprehension of trans issues and queer issues, and their um, their articles and stories are really um, they go over everything that needs to be going over. I don't. I mean, they probably have a little bit of a left bias, which, hey, as a socialist, I'm fine with. But obviously, you'd like to get all your, resource for that shares all sides. But in this case, like, understandably, like I think they lean a little bit more to the left. They might be more, I want to say liberal, which it's its own problem. But hold on, let me. Yeah, it might be its own problem, but they are they're a really good website for this. So let's go over this. So let me read the title. It says everything that happened in anti-trans legislation this week, April 15th through 20 to 21st. So in addition to expanding the Don't Say Gay bill, the Florida House passes three anti-trans bills, including a bathroom bill, a drag bill, and a healthcare bill. And this is by the Transformations Project. So that let me go back and see if anybody said anything. Nope. Okay. So let's get down to business. I don't know why I thought of that. Anyway, so the following bills passed this week, either passing in both chambers and or signed into law. So you have Florida SO 254 passed and was amendment. It will go to the governors for signature this week. Let me check what that was actually. Oh wow, this is the whole legal thing of it. So the summary of that one was it grants courts of the state temporary emergency jurisdiction over a child present in the state if child has been subjected to or is threatened with subjected to sexual reassignment prescriptions or procedures, providing that the purposes of warrants to take the physical custody of the child, certain child custody enforcement proceedings, serious harm to the child includes, but not limited to, being subject to sexual reassignment prescriptions or procedures, prohibiting certain public entities from expanding state funds for the provision of sexual reassignment prescriptions or procedures, requiring certain licensed facilities by a state by a specific date. I'm sorry, and as a condition of license thereafter to provide an attest an attestation of specified information to the Agency of Health Care Administration prohibiting sexual reassignment prescriptions and procedures for patients younger than 18 years of age, In other words, it's the bill that's basically saying you cannot provide um, children HRT under the age of 18. So, I mean, I pretty much could have just told y'all that, but like, I just wanted to read it over so you guys get like the actual fullness of what that is, and how terrible that is. But um, so then there's also Florida H1421, which was put aside for SO 254, which allowed the Senate to skip the House committee process. Wow. As a reminder, not only this SO 254 and under 18 healthcare ban, this was also established that a court of the state of Florida will gain temporary emergency jurisdiction of a child if the parents or legal guardians are letting them receive health care for transition purposes. So, in other words, if you, let's say you're a parent and your kid's like, hey, I think I'm a girl, and let's say they were assigned male at birth, right? But I think I'm a girl, I think I'm a girl. Um, I do not feel like a boy, I'm a girl. And so, if the parents even go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes them, let's say puberty blockers, right? Because you're at a younger age, they're not going to be prescribed any estrogen in that case until well, now it's 18. It used to be 16, but now it'd be 18. So under this bill, they can't be prescribed anything, or the child would lose custody. I'm sorry, the parents will lose custody of the child, essentially. And so that is troubling to say the least. And so I understand why a lot of parents are like, I'm out. I'm taking my kid and we're moving to a state, uh, one of the, what's it called? Sanctuary states. So, and if you don't know what a sanctuary state is, I mean, you may have heard it with immigration, um, where there's some states and cities in America where they're more accepting to immigrants that come over here than others. This is the same thing with queer and trans people, but it's a state rather than just a city. Uh, and so I wish I had the list in front of me, but I want to say California, Oregon, Washington State, Colorado. I don't know about New York. New Jersey just did it last week, or the last time I was on here. New Jersey did it. Um, Minnesota, and I want to say that's it because I can't think of any southern state that's sanctuary. And Midwest, I said Minnesota. I don't think Wisconsin's one of them. Yeah, I can't. I think those are the states. Maybe New York, maybe, but I don't know. So anyway, so let's go to the next one. So you got also in Florida, S1438 passed and will head over to the governor for signature. As above, Florida H1423 was set aside for S Senate Bill 1438, which allowed the Senate to skip the Housing Committee process. This is a drag ban bill that authorizes the Division of Hotels and Restaurants of the Department of Businesses and Professionally Regulation to fine, suspend, or revoke the license of any public lodging or food service establishment that admits a child to a live adult performance. So, in other words, with this one, it's about, so let's say, you know how you have like drag story time, right? Let's say you did it at the bar. Let's say you did it at like, let's say they did it at the bar. Let's say they did it at Algolf Beer, right? So Algolf Beer off of 12th Avenue. Let's say let's say Saturday or whatever. Let's say like 3 o'clock or something. They had a drag time story time there, right? And all the kids come and whatever, or even Sunday, whatever. Algolf beer could literally be like fined, suspended, or revoked of their license because they had a drag time story time there. You know what I'm saying? Or if like when we did Pride last year, at the end, it when we did Pride, it rained, right? Well, it rained throughout the whole day, but like right at the end, it rained really heavily for the drag show. And so they moved the drag show to Algolf Beer, right? So if and a lot of kids were present there during that show. So because of that, if someone, you know, called out Algolf Beer, let's say they complained to the governor, they complained to, yeah, they had to complain to the state and say, oh, hey, so, you know, Algolf Beer had kids at the, you know, at this drag show, you know, and then now Algolf Beer could be, you know, like they could be shut down because of that. So that's what that bill's saying. So that was the two, I think that was the two main ones that were happening for Florida. Just trying to check because they expanded the "Don't Say Gay," and I forget what part they expanded. They don't say it here either, right or right there anyway. Um, but the drag ban for Florida, and then also the you know, the under 18 healthcare ban, which, you know, we know this for a lot of young trans people that really affects them so hard because, you know, you're understanding yourself more. And even if your parents support you in this case, your parents support you, but you can't have access to the healthcare you need, that can still cause, in content warning, it can still cause, you know, dark thoughts and may lead to unfortunate suicides because you're having a situation where this kid cannot be themselves. They have to continue to, you know, put on this mask for, you know, for everyone else to feel comfortable rather than fully be themselves. And so, and most doctors won't give them even in a better, even in the best scenario, even in a more, let's say, socialist scenario, doctors are not going to give kids like estrogen that early. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give kids puberty blockers, see how they feel on it. And then as they get maybe in their teenage years, you start to give them the estrogen and stuff like that. But like, you know, but now they can't get any of it. They can't get any until they get 18. And we saw that last year they had banned um, uh, trans healthcare for people recipients of Medicaid. So, and we have a friend that's a part of the organization. I think they're part of the DSA on the UWF campus. You know, and part of our other organizations that they can't get HRT now through Medicaid because of that bill. So like they're not just attacking kids; they're also attacking adults too. And so that's something we need to something that we need to watch out for. And for the drag bill, they are going to do. I think it's next month. There is going to be this. I think it's going to be a drag march on the state house. So there's going to be a bunch of drag queens and drag people from the drag community that are going to protest at the state house. But I think it's either later this month or it's at the beginning of next month. So don't quote me there. When we get the information for that, I'll let you know. We'll post it on Facebook and Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, please do. On Twitter too. Follow us on Twitter as well. We'll post them on all the platforms and make sure that everyone knows when that march is happening. So if you want to join them and go to the State House, which in Florida, it's in Tallahassee, which is about 2 to 3 hours away from us. So um, I think it's about 3 hours away from us. So yeah. So let me see if there's any comments real quick. No? Okay. So yeah, so um let's go over some of the other states. I think Idaho was next. So you got the Idaho SF 496, the Parent Bill of Rights passed. Both chambers, and now we'll head it to the governor's signature. So the we in Florida had the Bill of Rights 2 years ago, like during the height of COVID. They didn't slip it. We knew it was coming, and we tried to fight it, but the state wise, we tried to fight it, but it unfortunately went through. So the Parent Bill of Rights is these rights that are given to parents to kind of, and to be honest with you, bypass HIPAA in some weird way they've been able to do it. And what I mean by that is for example, let's say if you are 12, let's say you're in middle school or high school, and you go, maybe you're gay, maybe you're bi or trans or queer, and you go to your guidance counselor or to your teacher, and you go, hey, I want to talk with you about this. I think I'm trans, I think I'm queer, I think I'm ace, or whatever. And you talk to them about it, have a good conversation and everything, and maybe you feel better afterwards. That counselor has to now go to your parents and let them know what just happened. Yes, that's part of the Parent Bill of Rights that happened in Florida. So these kids would come out, talk to these. Now, what could happen is the guidance counselor can hide that. They could literally be like, they probably, I'm sure they have some tricks and stuff where they don't have to tell, they don't have to conceal that. But if the parents are asking, like, what's going on with my kid? Okay, you talked with the guidance counselor. They find out they talked with the guidance counselor. They can go to the guidance counselor or go to the principal, ask for that information, and they have to reveal that information. Yeah, it's fucked up. Excuse my, it's messed up. So also with the Parent Bill of Rights, it was about anything that was being taught in class that they didn't like, they can pull that kid out. And that was part of the CRT issue, because it was like, if they are learning about, let's say they learned about the Tulsa bombing, right? That happened in 1912, or they learned about, maybe more of MLK's quotes that he said that wasn't just "I had a dream." Maybe they talked about the white moderate quotes, or maybe they touched upon Malcolm X, or maybe they touched upon Paul Robeson, who went to the Soviet Union and had better choice words to say about the Soviet Union than most people know. I don't think they would go that far, but like history class in middle school, elementary school. But maybe they talked about the Bolshevik revolution in Russia. Actually, funny enough, it was just Vladimir Lenin's birthday yesterday. So, if they touch upon subjects that are quote unquote woke, right? Um, and the parents find out about that, they can literally take that kid out. Like, oh, they look at the curriculum, for example, because usually when you go to middle school and even college, you get like a curriculum, and the parents look at that and go, I don't like this curriculum. It's gonna make me too uncomfortable if my kid comes up to me, or a kid comes up to us during the holidays or the family, and we were saying all our racist and homophobic and transphobic and stuff, and then they check us from the information, because of the information they got from school. I'm pulling you out, right? So they can do that and switch classes and stuff. They can make that kid switch classes, which is really messed up. So that's what the Parent Bill of Rights is. And so hopefully the queer and trans people in Iowa are trying to fight that bill, because it can get really, because they're basically setting up the next generation to not have access to their own autonomy, right? So you have to watch out for that. So Kansas has SB 26, which was sent to the governor last Friday. It was amendment at the last minute to include a provision that would cause any doctor who has provided gender affirming care for a minor to have their license revoked. The wording of this is vague, but it clearly states has performed, let me see, there it is. Okay. Has performed a childhood gender reassignment surgery. which is effectively defined as any and all gender affirming care and could be used retroactively. If signed, this law would effectively make under 18 care illegal, and that could mean any doctor who facilitated in the past could be out of a job. That's where we were at a few years back. We're there now, technically, but we were at that point, a year back. So a few years back, especially with Dr. Hillman, back when they were doing, or they were at Pensacola Osteopaths, we were, there was a situation where it was getting kind of iffy to see even if we were, they were going to be, she was going to be able to still take care of, transgender people in general because of that type of law. But now, unfortunately, underage kids are not being able to get anything. So, um, and so there you go with that. And we're already at 4:30 already. Not Minnesota. Montana has a similar thing. North Dakota's got a similar thing for minors. They also did a sports bill. Tennessee passed a sports bill. Also, Montana censored Zoe Zephyr, a trans woman, a Democratic representative. So, a group of Montana legislators called for Democratic Representative Zoe Zephyr, a trans woman, to be censored for speech arguing against gender-affirming healthcare ban considered in the state. The censor motion succeeded. During a floor session, Zephyr stated, "If you vote yes on the bill and yes on these amendments, I hope next time there's a invocation, when you bow your heads in prayer, you see blood on your hands." Damn, Zephyr. The Freedom Caucus intentionally misgendered Zephyr. Zephyr called out the hypocrisy of the group calling for civil discourse when intentionally misgendering her. This censor is a part of a growing movement of extremist conservatives attempting to silence those opposing viewpoints, especially trans legislators. Okay, here goes the "Don't Say Gay" part for Florida. So on Wednesday, the Florida Board of Education voted to expand the state's "Don't Say Gay" or trans curriculum to ban kindergarten through 12th grade. The initial law applied through kindergarten through third grade. So this rule change marks a large expansion, banning lessons related to sexual orientation and or gender identity through middle school and high school. As stated by GSLN Executive Director Melanie Willingham Jaggers, this curriculum will ban this curriculum ban will deprive the LGBTQ plus youth of the opportunity to see themselves reflected in the classroom and their non-LGBTQ plus peers from learning about LGBTQ plus communities. Oops, sorry. Let me go back up. Messed up there. So all this stuff, right? All these bills, and I'll probably stop here. If you want to read the rest of this bill, or the rest of this article, it's in Them magazine, and the title of it is "Everything That Happened in Anti-Trans Legislation This Week." So if you go to them.us or .us, just hit the news button, and this article is, I think, is like the second or third article. So let me. So yeah, so like these bills and all these bills across the state is really, and I mean really truly, just projection. Unfortunately, it's projection onto law, so it's something that is really upsetting. And because when you see it, it's just like, we just saw stories of, unfortunately, kids being shot in schools. You hear all these stories. You hear all these stories of sexual assault and child molestation and all that. But the big problem is trans people, trans education, or any type of like education in schools or health care for, for younger children, or drag bans, or banning Medicaid, or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense for me. It really honestly doesn't make any sense for me that our legislators treat, um, especially our youth, this way. They know they're the most vulnerable population. They know these kids don't have the political power that us adults do, and so they continue to do these things, knowing full well they're trying to set up they're trying to keep their power intact. Because if they were to allow, more education on gender, more healthcare access, more, being able to let drag people have shows and be able to teach, be able to read to young kids. They know that acceptance breaks away from their white supremacist power structure. That's what it does. It breaks that apart. It shows you that, you don't if you don't feel like a man, and you feel like you want to transition to a woman, that's okay. If you're a woman, you want to transition to a man, that's okay. If you don't feel like either, you feel like both, it doesn't matter. Like, you are who you are. um and and then you are who you love as well. So, or maybe you don't love anybody. Maybe you don't have romance, because there's aromantic as well. And maybe you don't want to have sex. There's ace people like me as well. um and then just because you're ace doesn't mean you don't want to have sex. You have sex for different reasons rather than just the sexual attraction of it. But that's another conversation. But, like, like, you don't have to, um you don't have to. You're the way you love, the who you are. It expands beyond the cisgendered, you know two gendered, way of living. And that scares, especially the older generation. And so, a lot of them. And instead of just understanding that and going like, hey, how can we adjust this new, not new, but how can we adjust to this life that we are seeing now? They want to stop that and make sure that, like, things stay the same so that they feel comfortable, in this country. And then they instill that among the youth, and then now the youth are, like, the ones that are cisgender and straight are now jumping on queer and trans people. And like that article said, especially about the Don't Say Gay bill expanding from kindergarten to third grade. And we were saying that too when it first came out. We were saying, like, it's not gonna, just because it's kindergarten to third grade, and that was really an important time for kids, doesn't mean they won't expand it later. And they expanded it later. That's what I'm saying. And so, a lot of people go like, well, why don't we, like, vote him out, or why don't we do that? People try to do that. When the Democratic people that came up there for the last election, they weren't they weren't about nothing. And so, obviously Florida's a red state, but still, like, you have these Democratic candidates come up here, and they're not providing you any sort of revolutionary action. It's just milk toast stuff. And yes, it will, maybe turn over what a lot of what DeSantis did here in Florida, but, like, you're not asking for a new healthcare plan that's going to cover queer and trans people. You're not asking for walkable cities, a high-speed rail that can go through Florida. You're not asking for, better education that will include trans and black and brown and indigenous education that will, you know, help everybody understand each other a bit better, because that's what they mostly fear. And that's why they're passing these bills. They don't want us to understand each other, because once we start understanding each other, we'll figure out that we're very similar to each other. Maybe not the same, definitely not the same, but we'll understand we have similar struggles, especially when we look at it among class lines. You'll see it and go like, oh, this trans person is just as poor and working class as I am, and they're struggling a lot more because of who they are. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going through a lot. They could be killed, nevertheless discriminated against at jobs, um, during education, being misgendered everywhere you go. If you feel You know, how bad would it be if you went by this one name and then everyone is calling you this other name? You feel degraded. You feel like, well, what am I doing? And then on top of it, you got to look at neurodiversity and understanding each other through that, and not just with ADHD and autism, but people who have schizophrenia and all these other issues and bipolar. And really trying to understand each other and really trying to understand who we are as a people, so that we can take those lessons we learn from each other when we have these conversations and use that to fight back against the powers that be, right? And understanding, like, it's not us who we should be fighting. We should be fighting the one at the top, the ones at the top. So, um, and owning those means of production, and making sure the streets are walkable. I have a friend who lives downtown Pensacola, you know, but the streets are dangerous for them, and and they have sidewalks for sure, but like, the streets are so wide, they're big, they're a little disabled. I mean, they're disabled, and it's hard for them to get to places, and so having a walkable city, that maybe they can feel better with, and things are closer, or a bit better for them to maneuver through the city is good, and so, and we also need to do those things without having to like raise the standard of living in the area. Just because you made it nicer doesn't mean you have to raise the standard of living. We have, Florida's another state where majority of the money, especially in Pensacola, goes to the police department. It goes to public safety, police and fire department. And so, if you took some of that money, yeah, defund the police, and you allocated it to areas of this, of the, uh, you allocated the different areas of the city, like I said, with education, healthcare, transportation, um, food, whatever you want to do, and parks and recs, like the show, parks and recreation. You add these things, and it enriches people's lives, and it makes their lives more like doable, like more complete. It gives them more to hang on to. It makes them feel like they're actually living life and not just struggling paycheck to paycheck. Like, all right, you have something to look forward to, but they don't want you to think that. They want you to keep that somewhat slave mentality, to think like, I just got to go to work, I got to hustle, I got to make these ends meet just to be able to sleep my head at night and get this little meal, and I got to go back at it again. And I may get a a vacation somewhere in there, but like, other than that, I just got to keep going on this little hamster wheel. And so that's what they want you to do. They want to keep you in that cisgendered, two gendered life, straight life, where this is how it is. And if you break against that, we're going to try to break you, essentially. And so that's something I think, as, um, people who are, queer, trans, black, brown, indigenous, even white, like, we have to consistently continue to look at working class, specialized labor. You know, we have to keep, especially with the working class and poor and homeless, we need to, you know, well, maybe not the homeless so much. If they can, that'd be great. But working class, we need to organize more along class lines, and understand that, yes, we are different people from different backgrounds, but our ties to poverty is what keeps us, what brings us together, and that we need to fight back against that. So, um, let me get off the soapbox and let me go to this last article. It's a more positive article. It is in Mexico. There is this, what is it called? There is this Twitter page called Good Trans News, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. Second. Yeah, so you have this, you have this article called Good Trans News. So it has I can't remember his name from Futurama, but the old man. And so and there's probably some other sites, I'm sure, but they pass Good Trans News. Some of it's on a lot of it's on politics and stuff like that. Um, I think it's obviously really good, like the thing said, like because we get a lot of negative news. We get a lot of negative bills. People, unfortunately, um, there's a story about this Atlanta trans woman that was shot and killed. Unfortunately, she was in a documentary. She was just in a documentary about sex work, and she had got shot and killed, and all the trans deaths that happened uh, throughout the year. But I just wanted to leave y'all with a good story um, that had to do with what Mexico is doing. So um, you do see some of these stories like transgender YouTuber Mia Muller is elected with the left party of Sweden municipal elections. You see, like Spain approves a landmark bill, making it easier for trans youth to change gender. Um, you even see celebrities. Ariana Grande pledges 1.5 million to trans youth. I don't exactly know what that means in that regard. What organization you donating it to? You have to look into that when you look into those types of big donations like that. Um, I guess metal band Ghosts are donating to charity for trans youth. Uh, but this is the one that we're talking about. Mexico Supreme Court rules that under 18s must be able to change birth certificates. So let me see if I can go to that one real quick. Uh, wait. Oh, should I? Yeah. Don't add that to stream. Yeah, let's try it again. Bonavi. Yeah, so you have I guess it's the El Dorado, but I still need to learn Spanish. So changing gender identity is legal for minors. Resolves in the will you stop? Anyway, hold on. Yeah, so it's changing gender identity is legal for minors. Resolves the SCJN. Um, so and that's the Supreme Court of Justice. So it says with this measure, the Supreme Court of Justice recognizes trans children in Mexico. And then let me try to make this bigger for y'all. This is that's well, that works. Okay, there we go. So the Supreme Court, well, it did it right. That's fine. There you go. Okay. That's fine. Okay, whatever. So the Supreme Court of Justice of the nation. So that's what SCJN is. Okay. I thought it was an extra. I was like, what the N stand for? Anyway, so the Supreme Court of Justice of the nation determined that the requirement of being 18 years of age to request a new birth certificate of the self-perceived gender identity is unconstitutional. The highest court unanimously invalidated the second fraction of the Article 875 tier of the Civil Code of Puebla, which establishes that people must be 18 years of age to request the release of the document for the recognition of their gender identity. So the minister Yasmin oh my god, this name. I'm gonna try it. Anyway, the minister Yasmin Equivel Mosa prepared the draft sentence and proposed to invalidate this norm for being discriminatory and violating the free development of the personality to the detriment of childhood and adolescence. He stressed that although Puebla, the birth certificate can be rectified by jurisdiction to change the name or another essential circumstance, being an adult or minor, when the reason is to adjust the document to the self-perceived gender identity, only adults can access to the right. Now, that was before, right? So Minister Arturo Zalivar assured that in Mexico, close to half of trans children report having been rejected by their parents when they found out their gender identity or have gone through a early departure from home. In addition, he stressed the worst case scenario, in the worst case, they are admitted to clinics or confined to camps to erase their identity. He said that the norm perpetrates the violence harmed against them, accentuating the risk that they suffer ill treatment, torture, hate crimes, and other transport behaviors to detriment their rights, health, integrity, and life. I guess he's saying in the big quotes here, for many, gender identity is an experience as easy as breathing for trans people. On the other hand, being themselves represents a major challenge, he empathized. The norm was challenged by the National Human Rights Commission through an action of unconstitutionality on the grounds that people who are outside the range are excluded from accessing the registration procedure. Therefore, it contravenes the right to equality and does not discriminate, as well as the free development of personality and personal sexual and gender identity to the detriment of girls, boys, and adolescents. So this is the norm presupposes that any person who has not reached the stage of majority is unable to define their gender identity that allows them blah 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 blah. So it's basically saying they're basically going back and forth on the issue of of it um of it being something that they should be able to define for themselves or if not. Um and then at the bottom says the criteria of the SCJN will be obligatory for all judges in the country who hear appeals filed by transgender children and adolescents. I think that was it of the article. So yeah, they so it's funny because in America, we got problems. Children can't even get access to healthcare. But in Mexico, they're like, let them be able to, change their gender identity. Let them do. Yeah, they let them let's fight and then let's let them do it because of the amount of massive destruction or massive discrimination that is happening to trans youth. And so it's just funny seeing other countries do, it's that meme of like, it's really hard to see somebody else live your dream. Like, so, and I said Spain kind of doing the same thing. And so seeing Mexico and Spain do that and being able to allow their children who are queer and trans be able to have access to be able to change their gender identity is just amazing to give them that freedom, because they know the maximum amount of discrimination they're seeing. A lot of these kids leave their homes because of parents who or parents who are mistreating them. And so it's just great to see that people from outside the US are having better time with this than we are here. um, and so but yeah, so that is it for the stream. Let's go over some Strive news real quick, and then we'll conclude because it's almost 5 o'clock. So I try to keep these within the hour, and just to give you something to look at, just to give you something to watch on Sundays and stuff. So, So there is uh, so this Thursday coming up, there's going to be a Control Alt Drag, which is the just the monthly drag show that happens at the Handlebar. It will be this Thursday coming up at 7. I think it's at 7 or 8. We'll repost it because usually Tara Card, who is the who hosts Control All Drag, they they're the ones who make the post, and we'll share it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Um, and then we are still trying to do a clothing drive. If you want to donate some clothes, let us know. We'll try our best to make sure we get contact with you so we can get the clothes donated. It's gonna be like mid-May at the Handlebar, and most likely it's gonna be a Saturday or Sunday. So if you want to get some new clothes and come by, we have that as well. Um, and then Pride is coming up in June. I think it's like June 10th, somewhere around there. So there'll be more information on that around the corner. Like I said, we do have meetings every Wednesday from 6 to 7 or 6 to 8. We usually talk a lot afterwards. So I usually say like 6 to 8. Um, Hopefully, we'll be at the End of the Line Cafe in downtown. But if not, we will be posting. We'll be at the Waterburger. So just in case. Um, so, but yeah. So if you, like I said, if you missed this, that's fine. We will be streaming this on, not streaming. We'll be reposting this on YouTube. And so if you miss it, you'll see it on there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're just a young channel and they're really young, like really like just starting out, and share the video with anybody who you would like to, and just make sure that you're keeping up the fight, and you're trying your best in any sort of little ways to make sure in your daily life that you're living your truth. But also, if you are an ally, or if you're somebody who is a parent of a trans or queer child, or if you know someone who's queer or trans, to stick up for them and fight for them in spaces where they're not there or we're not there. And because those conversations are important, and make sure that, people um, understand that we're just not these freaks, or we're not just these things that are on a law. We are actually people who deserve respect, and a lot of us, the majority of us, if not all of us, are just trying to live our lives. So, um, and then I'm trying to think of anything else that we have coming up, but I can't think of anything else. So, um, but yeah, so if you have any questions for us, you can, if you on Facebook, message us, Instagram message us, Twitter message us. We also have donation. If you want to donate to us, it's Strive. We have PayPal, so it's StrivePensacola 850. Um, and then for Strive Pensacola 850 for PayPal, Strive Pensacola for Cash App. We do have a coffee. So at Strive Pensacola Coffee, we do have a Patreon. Strive Pensacola, you want to go on there. We do have a tier system, starts from like $5 and goes through. So if you want to donate to us on there, and just like a consistent donation, that's great. We would love that. Unfortunately, we're not giving any gifts or anything like that. But if you just want to make a consistent donation to us, to help out the local trans community here in Pensacola and the Gulf Coast, and in Florida in general, but we try to make sure that we can help out our Gulf Coast um, queer and trans people out here. So other than that, though, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I know it's like one person. I think it was up to 3 at one point. I know these are a bit kind of a bit dead in their own way, but I want to keep making these, want to keep doing these, just so people have, some news up to date, even if that not that many people joined, or if it was just one person. Like, and people always say like, oh, if it was just that, one person got information, then that's great. And for me, that's true. Like, it's just the one person that's on here right now. Thank you for watching, and the few other people that like came in and out that I saw. Um, but yeah, the next week I'm gonna try one next week, and that one's gonna be on the book bans. So um, it'll be on the book bans that had not passed, the ones that from like a few weeks ago that didn't pass, and then on the two that did pass. So um, we'll talk about those, and it will be probably just that because unless any big news comes through, I'm going to be talking about the books that were up for being banned and the ones that did get banned next week. Because next week is actually National Library Week. So the last week of April is National Library Week. And yeah, so we'll go over that, and that'll be it. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.